Hey, listeners, if you haven't joined Stitcher Premium yet, now's the perfect time. Stitcher Premium gets you completely ad-free episodes of hundreds of shows, like Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Maron, and How Did This Get Made? You also get 21,000 hours of exclusive content. New exclusive originals like Marvel's Wolverine and Issa Rae's Fruit are launching every week for Stitcher Premium members. If you love podcasts, you are missing out. I signed up for Stitcher Premium just so I could go and listen to some of those back episodes of WTF with Mark Maron. There's so many good interviews in there. And hey, when you listen to ad-free eps in Stitcher Premium, your favorite podcasters get paid. Help support your favorite shows and join Stitcher Premium today. For a free month of listening, go to StitcherPremium.com and use promo code Crucible. That's StitcherPremium.com, promo code CRUCIBLE, Crucible. Onto the show. I said onto the show. Hello, people.
Hello, people of Earth. Welcome to How Did This Get Made? Sorry, I mean Crucible Radio, the podcast for all things Destiny 2 PvP.
Just pretend to be other podcasts for a few weeks. Do their thing.
Introducing my co-host Jason Mansukas. What's up, jerks?
Do all of them. Do all the voices.
And the wonderful June Dan Raphael. Hi, Paul. I'm fine.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you. Oh, let's talk to our actual listeners and be our actual selves now. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hello.
Happy Saturday night.
Yeah, we kind of pushed this one a little bit further into the week.
Yeah, we're like, you guys just want to keep playing video games all week? Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. I didn't get back until late last night. My flight got canceled yesterday.
Oh, no.
So then we had to, they got on the intercom. They're like, well, either you can drive up to Omaha and take a flight from there, or you could stay here another night. We'll book you for tomorrow. And my boss and I looked at each other and immediately got on our phone to start booking Omaha flights. So I didn't get back until late last night, and then I grinded it out today. I just want light. I don't like all these people hitting 385, hitting 370. I'm like,
all these people is strong.
350. Well, some of these people taking it real seriously.
What are you at, Birds?
I'm like, I cracked 350. I'm like low 350s. Just, you know.
You got to do some serious PvE if you want to.
I know, right?
I know. You really
I just got my first weapon above 370 and it's 371. And I was like, this is insane. But I'm so, for the first time, like I've gotten to level 30 on my two other characters. I'm so uninterested in like quickly maxing all three characters and trying to get new armor sets for them. Like I'm so done with that like insane grind, have everything maxed out. Like I'm playing my Warlock a lot lately. I'm good with that. I hopped on Titan a little bit to try out the new Ashen Wake arms, which are definitely sick, but like I don't feel super great on Sunbreaker, so I'm like, that's fine, I'll wait. I'm playing Voidwalker and Dawnblade a lot, so I'm good with one character. I don't care what light the other ones are.
I mean, that weekly grind is, you got to do your clan XP, you got to do your Flashpoint, you've got to do your Crucible, you got to do your trials, you need to do your raid, you need to do your raid lair, you need to do your raid lair. It's like a lot of stuff to do three times
it's definitely
every
something
week.
You don't want to do 3 times over every week, especially if you have a day job.
Right.
Yeah. But I did get to play some today, and I got some stuff. That was fun. I wasn't even expecting. I got an exotic engram and got a Huckleberry.
Hey, there you go.
Poor Keen.
You hear that, Keen? You hear that? I got my Huckle. I only had time for like take it in the Crucible and play like a round or two with it. It seemed okay. I could see it working great in banner where people are bunched up more and you can really let it fly. It felt like, I played it on Vostok, I think was the map, which is not a great map for it. But I don't know. I want to reserve judgment on like whether or not it's my personal meta killer weapon. But certainly it's beautiful and it sounds good and it looks and that reload. Yeah,
I was like kind of medium on it last week, having only just received and played with it a little bit. But
this sucks.
Birds, I have to say, keep it on for a little while, see what happens, because I had some crazy plays, and if you couple that with Devour, get the health back for every kill. I masterworked it, so it's got Ambitious Assassin now. I really like this gun, and I have a few clips I'm thinking about putting together soon to really show it off, but Huckleberry is good.
Huckleberry is good. I mean, like, what's the scenario you use it in? I normally have my kinetic, what's SMJ's Menu City, right? And that's mostly for cleaning up or when, I'm pushing in and finally in that close range. But, I wouldn't say that sort of kinetic SMG is my the main weapon that I use. I mean, how are you using? What play style do you use with it?
I mean, like, I always sort of feel better in that aggressive standpoint. It works really well for when you can kind of bait, and kind of the trick is like, especially with Voidwalker, which I've been using a little bit more than usual, or with a Rift on my Warlock, is constantly tricking the opponent into thinking you're weak and having them see a teammate do some damage and think, oh, I should help out, because they think you have to reload. They think you're a low health, and neither are true. And it's not about the speed up as much. Like, if you're in that situation, do it. It melts. But it's really about just getting that ammo and cutting out time between reloads and being able to keep pushing. So if you let go of the trigger and it resets to the 750, you're still in a pretty good spot, and you're allowed to put more pressure on the opponent than they ever suggest or suspect. So when they're coming around the corner, you kill one and you're still ready for the next one. That's where you get them, because they think they're going to keep pushing. They expect you to back up and reload, and you're ready with more ammo. Rampage is up and you've got your health. So it's a pretty nasty combo to just kind of be a one-man army if they push you in the wrong way.
See, that was, I think, the thing that surprised me was that I was ready for that speed up, but if you're not getting a kill with it, I mean, the speed up really only starts at the end of the mag. Mm-hmm. And so that speed up and sort of like the sort of rate of fire kind of archetype shift is something that I could see being hugely useful in PvE. But really what it's about is in PvP is about that ammo that you get back so you don't have to reload.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part you're proccing and using.
And I didn't really know if the masterwork would be huge, but Ambitious Assassin, not a perk I use on other guns in the Crucible at least. But with that, like, okay, so you got a few kills, you got that great double down, and you reloaded Rampage, great. Reload, and now, like, if you get 3 kills, I think it puts almost 40, 45 in the mag. For an SMG, that's huge. So then that means you can hold down the trigger longer, get to that speed up, and still have much left in the mag that's doing higher impact at 900 RPM. And that's where you're really riding the ball. Like, if you get all of that working together, it's really nasty. And in that sense, if you do have that larger mag size, you can kind of play it like Sweet Business, get a little pre-fire as you turn the corner so that you're hitting that speed up about halfway through. And, it's really funny because Sweet Business, Huckleberry, and the new Suros, which functions like the old Suros, obviously, but that speed up perk can be really good if you get a few bullets out before you really start fighting them. So there's quite a few guns that work like that right now. So it might be a good skill to start learning, people.
Yeah, those types of guns, you don't want to be the second one firing.
Yeah.
Because you're already at a disadvantage with the TTK on them.
Yeah, and like one thing is, like, in the 1v1, if that's all it is, if it's not about getting those amazing triple downs, if you start shooting at the same time or before your opponent and you can make sure every bullet is on them, hit fire some headshots, as long as you're hitting the body with every bullet, that speed up will help you through most fights. And that's really where it feels exotic. It's just like, it's gonna be good if I can land every single bullet. Sometimes you miss and sometimes you trade or sometimes you go down, and that's fine. That's balance. But If you're landing the bullets on the bodies, you're good.
Well, all right. A good exotic that they made. Can I do 60 seconds on Wormhusk?
No.
And if you guys have played with these
Sure.
type in, I'm gonna do it. It's an ugly, ugly exotic, but man, is it nice. This one instantly became my hunter go-to in PvP. It is nice, Swain. It's
much
nice.
better than nice.
It's better
literally
than
the
nice.
go-to.
It's sweet, cool, and good, and I like it.
Not much gets me worked up, but lately seeing someone like getting into a firefight and seeing someone like shade step and be like, I know where you're going, and then immediately seeing the health bar fill back up. It's as close as I get to tilting, I think. In Destiny,
I mean, at this point, I think the shape of Destiny has changed a little bit because there's now in the game a lot of things that you can use to restart your health comeback. And some of them, like Phoenix Dive, have been in the game since the beginning. Some of them, like Crimson, are, I think, now just becoming feasible now that Crimson is good. And then there's some new stuff like Wormhusk that is just sort of spreading the love. This one is great. I feel like all the Phoenix diving I did before Warmind was good practice for this one. And with the big part being that, you can use it as like, all right, I'm going to use my dodge to disengage from this fight and to get back in cover. But unlike Phoenix Dive, this one doesn't just give you a chunk of health back. It restarts your regeneration. So for this one, I've found that I'm much more successful with it. I'm more survivable if I'm really trying to get back to cover or get almost back to cover by the time I proc it. Because there's nothing quite as frustrating as dodging, you see your health come back, and then immediately you get tapped by one stray bullet, and you've now used up your dodge. So I think that's my pro tip on it. I really liked it with Bottom Tree Arc Strider because you've always got your dodge up in that scenario. But I did switch to Night Stalker sort of on a whim last week and have been staying put with it. And there, going invis when you dodge is really a nice. It's a nice thing. It's good. It's the go-to thing because you're getting your health back in. You're invisible. You're off radar, and you're not gonna get hit by that stray bullet and let it go to waste. I'm also kind of coming around on the way it looks. Like it's ugly and it doesn't take shaders well. I forget what shader I put on it. It was something real esoteric that happened to give the visor like a dark, almost black kind of look to it that looked good. But with otherwise almost all black armor, like it's growing on me. It's
Birds is cost now.
Well, it just shows off the pain and the anguish inside my soul. And it's still not nearly as ugly as that vanilla Titan helm. That's just so gross. Because you gotta have a bug face sometime, but not that much. I'm looking forward to the ornament on it. I'll say that much. I don't think they've got an ornament. They've not announced one.
They need one.
Not gonna happen. But
this is a plea for one.
It's both a prediction and a plea. Yeah, just give me something. Make it clear or something.
That was the longest 60 seconds on Wormhusk Crown.
All right, Swain, Mr. Judgy. What do you guys talk
Mr.
about?
Judgy.
Ready? I'll start you right now. You got 30 seconds. Say something cool.
Butts. No, it's a little too
He did it, folks.
lowbrow.
Well, let me ask you this, Swain. I mean, you spent the first week of Warmind doing all that PV stuff, going around and finding all these little dots you need to shoot, apparently. Dots need shooting.
I got all the dots.
In Warmind.
I'm still looking for the sleeper nodes, which is the biggest grind for an emblem ever. Like out of any of the game.
Yeah.
40 of them.
And you can get the same one.
Duplicates.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I have to go to the war, like the war set that is in the cavern again. I don't know. I'm gonna punch through my monitor. I don't know.
Okay, well, punching aside, have you gotten a chance to play any PvP yet?
I sure have, birds.
And what do you think?
I am trying out all sorts of different things. I've been hoping I would get some Masterworks for exotics, which I did. I got 2, but I didn't get them in PvP. I would love to have the Vigilance Wing one or the Huckleberry one, but the Huckleberry one's also kind of hard to get too. So, it's I've been very much enjoying how consistent Graviton is, and the ease at which you can just get like headshots. It's kind of just like sticks on their heads.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't ventured into the competitive realm yet, but I'm waiting on it, and I think we got some tips here today for y'all, which apply to me at this moment. Something I gotta remind myself. We kind of pilfered it from Cammy, and you can find him on the YouTubes at Cammy Cakes. He did a 10 Commandments of ranked play. Those guys really grinded it out. Like the first week, no PvE. They just kind of jumped in to get the Redrix, and they all did. They all they all got it pretty quick. It as far as grinds go, like 3 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of condensed it down and added a few things here and there. He does a great job of thoroughly laying it out, and it's a much more visual thing for his because he's on YouTube, and he can be like, hey, go to here, shoot this thing. This is the thing you should be doing. So we kind of condensed it down to 5 tips to kind of get you started in competitive Crucible and ranked play. Glory.
Yeah, these are, I think we can probably talk about competitive, right? And we're going to continue to talk about it. But
like these apply to everything we've said, not just ranked. But specifically, it's time to remind you these things for ranked.
Yep. Yeah, these are absolute non-negotiable core fundamentals, regardless of your play style, regardless of, what your team likes to do. These are pretty universally true and good to be reminded of. So, I don't know. Let's talk about them.
Let's do it.
Bit. Yeah.
Right. Number 1. Don't be a scrub.
What do you mean, Swain?
I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a player who can't get no love from me.
No, it's use what's best and don't care what anyone thinks about you using what's best. If that what's best is specific to your playstyle or hyper specific to the meta, use it and win with it, because this is ranked play and you want to win. You want to climb the ranks. So use the thing that's good.
Yep. And when you go into a scenario like competitive and someone else is using the meta, whether you're sick of going up against, Graviton or whatever it might be, you can be disappointed that you lose, but you can't really get angry at the other team for using the best guns in the game. This does not mean, like you say, Swain, this doesn't mean that you need to look up the best meta on Google, on reddit.com/destiny, search for best meta and just start using that, because some of these things, they're play style specific. If you're not using them right, you're not going to have great results. But it does mean that you have an obligation to really go through your vault and use the weapons that result in you winning the highest percentage of games. It's not even about KD. It's just about what is going to get you that win. It is okay to use it.
Quick play is where you go to be silly.
Yeah.
Do it there.
Be goofy. Be a goofy guy there.
Yeah, a lot of people think Rise Up was about, I'm going to use a 6-bolt fusion rifle. Ha ha ha. Not sorry. And it's not. It was, I'm going to use the best gun and beat you. And then if you're upset, that's funny to me.
Yeah, not going to apologize for wanting to win.
Yeah.
So, moving along, number 2, play with a full fire team that you're comfortable with. Obviously, you want to have some sort of previous experience with the people you play with. You want to meld together real nicely. You want to have played the game, other modes, maybe trials, maybe even just some quick play. But you want to fit together well, and you don't want to really rely on solo queue because that's pretty inconsistent at best. Obviously, there's some people that prefer to solo queue. I like to solo queue, but I'm not going to expect myself to win if I'm going to go into ranked play by solo queuing. That's kind of why I'm saving it. I know a lot of people are PvEing right now, the people that I would like to play some ranked play with. So kind of holding off. I'll get to it once I have my full fire team.
Yeah, there's a couple different parts to this, right? You know, this isn't trials. You're not forced to put together a full fire team. But if you go into the competitive playlist with the full fire team and you go up against anything less than a full fire team, you probably would expect yourself to win. Like, that's not always the case. Sometimes you go up against some great players, and I don't know if this new matchmaking team-based system is 100% kicked in yet. But the benefit that you experience from being able to share information with people is really something extreme. But I think there's another part to it there, and this is sort of the second part. It's not just a full fire team. It's not just about, you know, finding an LFG group to carry you through competitive, but having a group of people that you gel with. And I think one thing that's important is having a group where somebody feels okay to take charge and call shots. And that might just be as simple as, hey, we're going left this time, or everybody stick together here, or seeing a teammate who's way off on their own, maybe the rest of the team got wiped, and telling them to fall back and regroup. This is not the person who's going, oh, stop dying every time somebody dies. But really that person who's there to
take this serious.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know we were just goofing around up until this point, but now let's change it up and try a different serious strategy. But just about having someone who you can trust to make a call and everyone going with it. And it's a lot of times it's not even about the quality of the call, because going left or going right, I mean, you get some edge if you sort of outthink the other team. It's really just about having everyone on the same page and sort of knowing what the big team timing is. That just makes a huge difference.
A really good shot caller will be able to absorb everything and just like it flows right out of them and says like it's very informative and controls the whole team and puts you all in the best possible situations based off of that info. So it kind of takes us to number 3. Be careful and make informed decisions based on your team communications and in-game cues. That could be, well, there's no radar in comp, but it could be something like, oh, you know that they pulled power ammo because it shows down in the left corner. Or they activated their super. So we need to kind of move around or spread out. We don't want to all get Nova bombed here on the point.
Yeah, this is a big one, especially now with no radar. Is like, you know, it's not chaos. There's things to factor in, and if you're not keeping track of it mentally, you're gonna fall prey to those things, like someone just hiding with a shotgun, etc. But you know, if that's the problem, and you're like, wait, we're just walking down a hall and there's someone in the corner with a shotgun. Think before that. Well, did you control power? Did you push to that side of the map on survival because it only spawns in one area? You know, did you get greedy? Did your flank get called out? Why did your flank get called out? How did you, not hide it well enough? So kind of think ahead of yourself and, adjust to what the team is doing and think about it and say like, hey, we got to push heavy right away because we lost it the first round and then we ended up getting smoked.
I think if this is something that you're new to, right, and if you're used to playing with radar, it's just easy to get out of shape with making callouts. But I think one thing specifically around callouts that's sort of easy to lose sight of is that when you're running around, before the engagement starts, you're sort of moving to the 50-50 and you see somebody, that's when you make that call out. There's someone over there, 2 on the left or 3 on the bridge, something like that. And that's great, right? Like that's how it begins. That sort of sets the stage. But when you watch really good players play, they're making those call outs continuously. They're making them when they're in a fight or as the fight sort of has the pause if somebody dips behind cover, or when they're rushing to catch up to the rest of their team and get into position. And I think that it's important to really pay attention to this and keep in mind, because the moment someone on your team makes a call out and you start acting on it, that call out starts to go stale. I know one thing that definitely caught us out the other night was we would sort of make that first call out. We'd go to that first fight, and it's like 2 on the left, or they went outside, and not keeping track of the fact, well, like 2 of them did, or maybe 3 of them did, but 1 of them is flanking around right now. Or they went up to this point and then, half their group split off and went to the side. And so you really have to have your head on a swivel, and you really need to be sharing that information with your team. If you're the person who's realizing, oh, we're getting flanked right now, this pinch is happening, we're all 4 together, but there's 2 groups of 2 on either side, you have an obligation. Don't assume that everyone else on your team knows that, because they don't have any radar to pick up on it. Even better if you can give a direction to respond to that. But just making sure people know as much as you do is what wins fights in this scenario.
That is hands down the killer, is just silence. And, I mean, I know you're multitasking and you're trying to shoot them first, but just like when you just don't know and you have no info and you want to go help your team, but you don't know where the fight is because you're not getting that info, it can be really frustrating.
That's going back to being careful too. Like, you don't want to just make bad decisions, like rushing into an area, or like, because if you rush into area, you're just going to get you may just put your team in a bad position.
Yeah. Or I'll hold this flank off. No need to warn anyone. Like, it's not very careful of you to just be like, I'm sure I'll win.
Yeah. And that's a situation where you really need to practice, just running away, or staying behind cover longer. Because I know everyone's done it where they are peek shooting at someone, and you're both almost dead. And you're like, oh, I got him. And you step out and die. And you're like, oh,
yep.
Wait, I thought I had him. That's a situation that could have been prevented by you just staying behind that rock, or staying behind that wall, or turning around and running away from that fight, because that doesn't give them points.
I think there's one more aspect to it, which is that when you're playing with, let's think of your team of 4 as 2 groups of 2, right? If you're playing out in front, you're both running the same point. One person is in front, one is behind. The person in front has got the first view of the enemy. They're the one who's going to call the push. They're the one who's got the most information and is going to know, all right, I mean, we got to go in. This is my call. Come with me. The person behind them has a different responsibility, which is to let the person in front know that they're there. I know that it's very reassuring if I feel like, oh my God, I got to bail. They're right behind me. They're coming right with me. And to hear somebody say, hey, birds, I'm with you. Or birds, I'm right behind you. Because we don't have that radar, right? I can't see that. I can't see that little indicator that I've got 2 teammates watching either side of me. So to kind of recognize first whether you're on point or whether you're falling behind, and then make the appropriate call out there, is an important distinction. And knowing too that when you get those call outs, that when that person who comes from behind says, hey, I'm with you, they're expecting you to keep moving, right? You're not going to slow to a stop unless you call it out. And conversely, if there's somebody in front of you and they say it's time to push, and you've said you're there with them, you better be ready to go with them, right? You don't want to leave them hanging when they go to get that kill.
Yes.
So moving along to number 4, kind of fits real nicely with that. Figuring out maps and not pushing too hard by using private matches, because they are here now. And you can just load into it by yourself and look around and figure out something as simple as, okay, I spawned here. Where would I run immediately? Where do I use the map to kind of figure out what the other team is doing safely? Like, oh, I'm going to run up to this little rock and I'll use like my emote or a sword hilt to kind of see around the rock and see what the other team might be doing around me. Another good resource is the maps on crucibleradio.com by Relict. He's got some great overhead maps that you can look at while you're at work. Kind of just figure out where you would go and what that call out is called.
Yeah, I know I need to spend some time with those maps and learn some of the call outs a little bit better. I have an okay sense of what things are called. And in the heat of the moment, it's better to say, hey, there's 2 outside on the right instead of 2 outside on galley, crossing over. I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know the call outs.
They're on the pipes.
Yeah. They're on the...
Go to Rumble.
If there's one thing I know about the future is that there's pipes everywhere in the future.
And everything is broken.
Yeah, it's not working so good. But one thing private matches can do is it can help you with 2 specific things that I really benefit from. The first is that it can help you figure out your routes. If you need to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, how do you do that? But more importantly, if you want to do it without ever really getting out of cover the whole time, how do you do that? And that's very different because if you're just moving breakneck, trying to move as fast as you can, you're probably in the air. But if you're in the Crucible, it's more important to be safe and to not expose yourself to getting shot and having to take cover or wait for your health back, sort of lose the positioning. So getting just comfortable, it just take 3 minutes on a map even to just do a lap around the outside and move from cover to cover using your slides, using your sprints and your class abilities to move in a way that's safe. The other thing you can do in private matches is figure out where you're going to put your rifts and where you're going to put your grenades. And really practice your throws, practice your angles. Know that, if you're trying to chuck a firebolt all the way across, midtown down a lane or something, how are you going to make that throw? Where are they going to be standing? And where do you need to place that grenade? How can you get to the point where you can peek out of cover for just a second in order to toss that grenade? Or where can you set up a rift where you can be defensible and your team can use it instead of just getting surrounded and pinched because you relied on it?
And the last one, number 5, it's really simple. Make sure your fundamentals are sound because fundamentals will win you the game.
Yeah, it's the most generic point, but it's the most important. And all of the things we mentioned are fundamentals because you need to know them. And fundamentals are the really simple stuff, your habits and your common faults and stuff like that. Like you got to work on those. And that means not reloading when another enemy is pushing. There are times where you press the button to reload and you already saw the guy coming. You got to work on that. You got to have the control to not do that. The fundamentals of knowing what game mode you're playing. Oh, we're up 3 lives to 0 in survival. There's no need to push. Like if you lose a round because you just decided to keep fighting and you just kind of weren't keeping track, that is gonna you're not gonna get the claymore because that stuff is just fundamentally keep your game sense up, keep your awareness up. Don't fall to those bad habits that you might just be, unknowingly developing in quick play.
Yeah, you definitely know you're doing them.
A lot of these things are tough, right? Like getting more headshots, getting the first shot more. A lot of that's just a mechanical skill that, you can really focus on it, but you have your natural limit. But a lot of these fundamentals aren't that. They're just simple things you have to remember to do or remember not to do, like pre-aim before you go around a corner. You know where the person is going to be when you go around that corner, so have your reticle ready there instead of needing to adjust once they've seen you and you've now seen them. Or learning not to waste your grenades or learning to fall back and get your health. These are decision-making kind of things that there's really no excuse for not working on and not trying to really do your best in competitive. And where in quick play, you can just, you can kind of fly around and have fun.
Don't pop your super in the middle of a firefight.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Use your supers wisely. Chain your supers together. Get some orbs going.
Yeah. Pick up the shiny white glowing things on the ground. They get you your super quicker.
I think I forget what map we were playing, Bones, but I remember saying I'm not going to use my super unless I call it before the round starts. That hey, I'm going to use my tether this round, and if I didn't call it, then I'm just not going to use it.
Yeah,
maybe okay, I hear them pop theirs, and I'm going to use it defensively. But just making that decision in advance, that really helps with a bad habit of mine, which is the panic super or the sort of improvised shot that really could have been lined up better and won the round instead of just maybe winning a fight.
Certainly.
Good luck, everyone. Hopefully you get your red Rixes and it doesn't take you all season.
Not before me, though. No, it probably will be before me.
Can I give some other advice that's not about playing better, but just about the mechanics of the way the comp playlist works?
No, we're done. It's not in the format.
Well, I'm gonna. If you're going on a losing streak, stop playing. If you have a group of people that you play everything else with, but you don't play well together in this competitive setting, find some other people to play with. It's okay. You don't have to be good at everything with everyone. And this last one I feel a little bit bad about saying, but I kind of also don't. If you're playing with 4 and it goes from searching 4 to 8 right away, it's okay to hit the cancel button. It's okay. If you let it go to 5 out of 8 first, just so you know that you've got that advantage of going up against something less than another 4 stack, I mean, I'm not going to blame you. I think that's okay.
We're not going to tell on you.
Right? It happens.
They're going to tell Papa Bungie. You go be in trouble.
Oh, no. I done did it. All right. Well, this week we opened it up to our listeners. That's you guys. We wanted to know what questions you guys have for us, being that we are experts on nearly every topic.
So smart.
Yeah, you really chose well. And we posted a little question post on Twitter. You can give us a follow, twitter.com/Crucible Radio to catch the next one. And we're going to answer some of them. The first is from the one, the only Handsome Dragon, who wants to know, hey, Birds, Bones, and Swain. And I was wondering, is that the official order? I want to say Swain, Birds, Bones was...
I want to say Bones, Birds, and Swain.
Order, so Birds, Bones, Swain.
I think Bones, Birds, Swain, or Swain, Birds, Bones. Swain, Birds, Bones you had as a line in one of the songs that Swain, Birds, and Bones.
I'm going to check the Reddit post because that's the first. It's been copy and pasted. Birds, Bones, and Swain.
Okay.
I always put myself first, so I don't care.
Hey, Birds, Bones, and Swain, and Andrew, because I know you're listening. I was wondering what your advice is for getting stuck in a rut of a specific loadout. Oh my. I want to be able to use everything, but can't seem to find success unless using my quote-unquote preferred loadout, i.e. the old-fashioned.
I wish I had this problem.
Know a thing or two about this. Yeah, I Bones, I feel like we are almost the opposite player in that regard. I use the same thing over and over and over, and you use something different every single round. I have to switch
a weapon every game I play. That's a bad habit.
It's not bad. I did get over one hump, which is that I felt obligated to stick with the loadout until I got my masterwork kill numbers up. And now that I've got lots of choices that are suitably terrifying to go up when you inspect me before the round, I feel okay there. I have a piece of advice. In D1, I put together this spreadsheet that just generated sort of a random structure of loadouts for you. So it would just say, this day you're using hand cannon, shotgun, and machine gun. This subclass as well. And from there, you go and pick out anything in your vault that sort of match that. And I had a listener put together a new version of it. I was very excited to see what they came up with there. So I have that posted on my Twitter. But the basic idea is this. If you want to break yourself out of a rut, pick a new loadout and use it until you're good at it. It's kind of that simple. And it's not easy by a long shot, but it is simple. Because you're going to have this natural reaction of like, well, I have a certain amount of excess using this gun and this gun and this gun. But the reality is that it's not those guns that are your secret to success, because there are lots of good guns right now. You can run lots and lots of different loadouts. It's more about the play style that you've developed around these guns. And this is a very specific thing. I mean, even using an identical pair of guns in your kinetic and energy, and then just swapping them. So you've got, if you used a SMG hand cannon, using a hand cannon SMG for same archetype and everything, you'll notice that it really can throw off your gameplay, because you have a way of moving. You have positions that you choose. You have, this is when I switch to this gun versus when I switch back to this one. This is what I use on this map. This is how I defend the power, and this is what I do with the power once I pick it up. Whether you're going for the quick snipe and then maybe you switch to body shot to clean up, or whatever. And so I found that when I want to try and get out of a rut, I pick the new loadout, and maybe I'll bounce around a little bit until I find something that feels at least okay. But then you really have to force yourself to stick with it, even as you play poorly. And that's what you should expect, and feel okay about it. Really, it becomes much more sort of introspective and going, well, why did I die using what feels like almost the same hand cannon than what I normally use? Or why did I show up at the bottom of the leaderboard? Or why was my KD so low this match? This is where watching your gameplay back can be really helpful. But just forcing yourself to try something new and being open to trying all the different ways you can play it until you can find something that clicks, which might mean slowing way down and playing defensively if you're using a long-range scout for the first time, or forcing yourself to go for the push when you're using a close-range loadout that's unfamiliar, and being okay if you kind of do it wrong and you misjudge and push into a crowd. That doesn't mean that pushing is bad, just that, you got to give yourself time to adjust and pay attention to what works and what doesn't. You will find something new, and you'll find it's hard to switch back to your old one as soon as that new thing becomes comfortable.
Yeah, I just suggest finding something similar to what you're using now. Like if it's a similar archetype or an exotic that fits that same role, it's always nice to just find the closest thing to what you already like and just use it for its little special thing that it has, whether that's a perk or a speed that it has to it. I don't know.
If you do want to try something completely different, I would recommend starting off by just really building everything around one gun that you like. If you've been using, pulse rifle and SMG, and you find a sidearm that you really, really like, build an entire playstyle around that sidearm. You're gonna swap different things in and out around it that pair well in the kinetic slot, or that make sense for the power weapon. But really anchor it to something that you like and that feels good, and figure out what works from there. All right, next up, this one is from the Positive Man, Mr. Log Power Slave, who wants to know, what's your favorite exotic since the update, and why is it Crimson? I don't know if you meant that seriously, but we'll address that. But also, he asks on a serious note, what should I pair with Crimson in the energy and power slots to keep a well-rounded loadout? Bones, you like Crimson, right?
Yeah, and I've masterworked it, and I think I have a good answer for this, because I ran into this problem, and Crimson is a hand cannon. Obviously, that range bar is pretty maxed out, which is awesome, and you think, okay, it's a long range, but really, it's not competing with pulse rifles right now. It's certainly giving anything in a medium range a really good workout, and so auto rifle range and most hand cannon range. Crimson is really not good up close, though, and I think that's where a couple times I felt with a pulse, it's a hand cannon, get a couple nice crits and a melee. It really doesn't work that way. So I think factoring in Crimson's bad situation up close, you have to factor that part in more heavily than anything else, because you can kind of try to push the reins and get a little bit of damage at a distance, but you shouldn't be going up against the pulse rifles out there like Graviton. So play a CQC kind of build, get ready for melees, get ready for up close and personal, maybe go with a Titan that can recover health or get the overshield or something like that, and put it with an SMG in your energy. Something like Hero's Burden or Foggy Notion if you don't have it. That fills out the problem parts of that loadout the best because you can always get closer to people. You can always try to find a different route. You can always avoid the long lanes. In any case with Crimson, and like if you put a pulse rifle with Crimson and your only area covered was medium to medium long range, you're screwed in so many situations. So I think putting with an SMG, or if you're really crazy and you like a sidearm, energy sidearms are pretty solid. Swift Solstice for the full auto, or the 3 burst. If you're on console, those are still good. And there's solid choices there. So yeah, play for that close round and don't count on Crimson to be your up close saver.
All right. This next one is for Swain. This one's from Zycam. I'm just going to read this one as is, as I imagine Zycam would say it. Is it overtly sexual to say that I love Swain's pork roll? That's what Zycam sounds like, right? I'm sorry, Zycam.
Yeah, he's from the South and also a 60-year-old creep.
I do declare your pork roll, Swain, is bewitching.
God.
Swain, are you rolling pork? What is going on over there?
What does this mean?
Have you never had pork roll?
I've not had your pork roll.
It's that salty Philly ham.
A weird sentence.
He came to the restaurant and ate at my restaurant. That's why.
I had pork roll for the first time when I went to New Jersey, and I had it like with breakfast. Is it like? Did you do something to it special?
Nope. Just on a flat top. There's really nothing you have to do with pork roll except sear it off.
What is pork roll? Is it pork?
Is it like a roll of salty pork bologna?
Oh shit!
Pretty much, but it's great for breakfast.
Oh, man.
So I think like fattier bologna.
I'm into it.
Put it on a bagel.
Yeah.
Ugh, yummy.
A bagel. We just serve it as a side. That's probably what
I had it as a side too.
It's delicious.
And apparently turns people on.
Yeah. It works for my fictional interpretation of Zycam, at least. All right. Next question. And this is very much a real question. And this is an interesting one because I think some of my answers to this go back to the very beginning of D1. This question is from Hoffman Lens, who asks, is there a particular archetype of weapon that you have never clicked with, no matter how many times you give it a try? Yes. Yes, there is.
The answer is yes. You're welcome.
Oh, man, that's an easy one. I will say slow rate of fire pulse rifles. Man, they're good. I can do well with them if I focus. I know like the Einstein is great. And with these new pulse changes, like people having great luck with Relentless and all that. It's got the Head Seeker on it. But I just the play style of it, of having something where you need to time and pace your shots like a hand cannon, but isn't instant. It's got like the firing time of doing your damage like an auto. It just feels very weird, and I feel static and locked in. It doesn't feel like a fun duel. It feels like I'm locked into something that I can't get away from.
That's fair.
I would say mine is just like machine SMGs in general. Like I can get them down, but I never feel really comfortable on them. And they also like force a playstyle I don't like to use like that often. I'm not an aggressive playstyle. And if I do switch into an aggressive playstyle via SMGs, I die way more often. So play it safe. I'm the middle of the road guy.
I thought a lot about this, and I feel like there's always one gun in every archetype where I'm like, oh, but that one's pretty good. Like high impact scouts, but Jade Rabbit has been a fun gun in the past. Probably one that I just can't work with right now. And I had a slight window where I did was the 3 burst pulse Omelon sidearms. And of course the Osiris one too, but like they're objectively good. Last Hope was great on console. I mean, Last Hope might have was disgusting. And I got it then, and I did use it to great effect. I think after that first balance patch where they got tuned and everything else got moved around, from then it was just like I didn't know what I was doing. And to try to force the hip fire, which I know was preferred for that gun, I just didn't have it in me to keep that muscle memory down. So I've tried to pull some out, and I'm like, yeah, these are in the past for me. So unless something really nasty comes out, or maybe that raid one, the raid layer has a 3 burst I hear is good. So maybe I'll try that one.
Let me ask you guys about this one. This is one I can't understand it. And I think, Bones, you might have had better luck. The really fast firing scouts, I just can't do nothing with those. Like, theoretically, they're great, but I just landing that many headshots in a row, it just seems too high stakes, too risky to get that TTK.
I found the success was with any of them that had explosive rounds. So Mananin or Purpose, which came out in season 2, the Trial Scout and the Kinetic. And those really work for me as almost like a sporadic damage, spam corners, pre-fire. And then when I know I have a kill, I'm probably going to use my other gun, whichever one was flipped on that, because they're going to get smoked by pulse rifles in just flat open air. But if you can kind of get the team shots and just poke at people and get that little explosive damage at their feet, maybe if they're around a corner or something like that, and prevent them from their shield coming back up, they can be effective. But they are tough. I think, honestly, scouts are in such a bland place right now. Like, sure, they can work in these perfect scenarios where you made them work, but I don't know. They feel weird right now, and I just miss my not like the others, and there's nothing that feels like that gun. So I guess it lives up to his name, but I miss scouts like that. They're weird.
All right, well, that takes us through our questions for this week. Guys, did we somehow record a perfect edit-free episode?
Yes. Once again.
I don't mean this one. I just mean in general, ever.
No, we did not.
Well,
yeah, there's a giant silence signal that's going to get edited out.
That's true. Actually, you know what? Fucking head, you leave it in. Let them wait.
What if we did one episode
taste
at some point where we literally just go, it's a no edit. This is what it is fully. Is that even worth it? What are we showing there? That we're not good at this? That we step away and go to the bathroom for?
If we're going to do that, we might as well do it on Twitch.
Ugh. Never mind.
That way we can riff on the chat, because we don't have much else.
That's true. Chats be riffing. Well, I think that takes us through this week's episode, but we can give a little hint about what is coming up in coming weeks. One that we sort of touched on last episode, and that I'm personally excited for. I've had some real luck with my exotics. I think we are rapidly approaching our exotic armor review. And
that roadmap, baby, though. Those changes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well,
suck it, birds.
We've got some new ones that are fresh out in Warmind that I imagine will not be getting touched as much in those changes, and that we didn't have right away.
We don't really want to pull a Fallout.
That's true, but I think there's some items like Sanguine Alchemy where at first glance we might have thought, hey, what's this? And then on second glance we thought, ooh, what is this?
I still don't like them.
It looks cool, man. It takes shaders real well, at least.
It does. Thank you for a Warlock chest piece that looks nuts, but doesn't have to only look that way. Yes. Like so many before it. My God.
We got a couple others. We talked about the Wormhusk Crown, but we've got all of the various wormy ones. We've got Frosty's back on the Hunter side. We've got all of our double melees again. We're going to give them a shot, and we're going to talk to it. But that's not nearly as interesting. Swain, are we ready to announce this other one? This is locked in, right?
Yeah, no, we have a date for it. So
date.
Pretty sure it's as locked in.
And if it gets canceled, it won't be our fault, and we can call them cowards. So
that means we can only be talking to one group of people.
Bungie!
Oh my God, Bungie. I miss you guys. We've got such a good set this time. Of course, old Nooski Noosk, Old Noosk, we like to call him from time to time. He'll be there.
I have a feeling he might not come on now that he's heard you say
Ye old Noosk.
The old Noosker. But he's not coming alone.
He's going to be coming with Josh Hammer.
Classic.
And Kevin Yanis.
Oh shit, is it Tocom?
Tocom.
It's Tocom.
Yeah. So we're going to get to talk about all the great stuff that's encompassing the Crucible. Comp, weapons, armor, some cool new Crucible labs.
Wait, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Stuff
whatever that means.
Whatever that is.
So write down your questions and we'll write our own.
And you can check to see afterwards if our list matched your list.
Yeah, you can see if any of them line up. If we maybe stole from you or just ignored it.
It's going to be a blast. They're always fun. And I've been thinking quite a bit about what I'd like to ask the next time I get a chance. So stay tuned for that. That one is going to be coming out on the week of June the 4th. We'll be recording the previous week. And this is right before Crucible Labs comes out, right?
Yeah.
No, we're going to be recording the day Crucible Labs comes out.
That's right. Andrew, don't make me sound dumb. Edit that out for me, please.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that?
Make him sound extra.
Can you make my voice sound like that the entire episode? Just like goofy.
May I suggest to listeners, at any point you want more laughs out of us, switch us to half speed on your podcast app. It sounds like we're more drunk than we usually are.
And if I have any advice to our listeners, it's to stop listening to this. What are you still doing?
Yeah, go somewhere. I don't know. Go outside.
I don't know.
Maybe you are outside now. What?
Go inside. Get doors.
What are you doing?
Right, you know what's out there.
I'm ending this. I'm ending this because I want to go play Destiny.
CrucibleRadio.com.
CrucibleRadio.com.
Twitter.com/CrucibleRadio.
CrucibleRadio.com.
Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/CrucibleRadio.
Crucible Radio.
Yep. And leave us a 5-star review on the iTunes.
Listen to Gaming in Hell. It's Apple Podcasts. Don't call it iTunes. They hate that.
And if you have anything, just email us, crucibleradio@gmail.com.
That's it. Till next time. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, Z's.
Music this week, well, that's Khamsin. Khamsin. Khamsin out of Nashville, Tennessee. Check him out at khamsin.bandcamp.com. And if you are a musician, you can hear yourself right here on Crucible Radio. We want to play your newest song. Send us what you've been working on. That's crucibleradio@gmail.com.
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.